line. There was a grandmother coming through really strongly. She's an older woman, she was adorable, but she was, had quite the sense of humor, and she was very straightforward. When a celebrity books a reading, they go through my manager, Ron, not me, because I never want to have any idea of the person I'm reading beforehand, so as to not bias a reading. And then there was also like a grandfather figure that popped in as well. So that might apply today. I guess we're gonna have to see.
Generally, when I'm driving Tyler to an appointment, we get the address and we just drive there. We have no idea where we're going and who he's meeting with.
I don't have a driver's license because I grew up in a small town, and at the age of 16, I didn't need it. Being driven around by my mother is a little nerve-wracking, but I love her, even if her driving isn't that good.
Holy crap! Oh my God!
It was just a motorcycle, relax.
He almost made me pee my pants.
As I get close to the location, I start picking up on much more information. I'm getting really strong visuals, and I'm noticing that each image is coming through much more clearly than the last.
Do you feel like you're getting anything? Or are you feeling like, is it
yeah,
more
it's interesting.
me?
My chest actually has been kind of hurting, and my quality of breathing has kind of been starting to feel like I have bricks on my chest. So hopefully that'll subside if we can figure out where that fits.
When Tyler first told us about his ability, I wasn't so sure about it. Kids have imaginations, and Tyler was always very creative. But as he started telling me more and more, I had to take it a little bit more seriously.
The first time I ever articulated to my mom that I felt like I was psychic, there was a lot of fear because it was something that she wasn't completely comfortable with, but as time went on, she would end up being my closest confidant.
I'm in awe and amazed at him every day. There's never a dull moment at our house, and I've seen him touch so many lives and help so many people, and I'm so proud of everything that he's done so far. Oh, God.
She's my #1 fan. Started having visions of a white house with pillars. Hopefully it'll have some pertinence in the next couple days. When I go to a celebrity's house and I knock on the door, I'm really surprised by whoever ends up answering it. That definitely puts me in a position in which there is a lot of pressure.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you? I'm Jamie.
Great to meet you, Jamie. I have no idea who it is, which is really awkward. And being from a small town, I'm definitely not up to date with pop culture.
It's always a little awkward because I never want to offend my clients by not knowing who they are.
This is so beautiful.
There's people up there that I'm sure are gonna come up. But I'm actually really interested, instead of saying anything about it, I wanna see what he has to say. We have very similar haircuts.
Exactly, I know. Well, I like yours. Yours is styled better than mine.
No, I like yours. I'm
love it.
trying to grow it out a little bit to where yours is.
I love it.
So we can do more with it.
Oh, it's awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Before we start, I'd like to kind of explain how I do what I do. I actually work as a medium and as a clairvoyant. So I actually see information. And my job is basically to try to take that information, make some sense of it, and then generally deliver it to you in the form of a message. This is really, my head's not gonna spin around or anything. Actually, what I do is I have a pen, I have a notepad, and I scribble. And that's the way that I connect. And we're gonna go from there. So we'll start connecting, and we'll see what we can do as far as this goes. All right.
In a reading, scribbling really kind of helps me just focus on a single point of concentration. It allows me to basically clear my mind and allow for information to come through clearly and accurately so that I'm not biased with my own anxieties and fears.
Okay. So before I came here, there was actually 2 people that were popping in quite heavily, and these are actually grandparent figures. And then I'm brought, okay, let me see. I'm seeing white. Give me 1 sec. Initially, as I'm connecting, there's some form of a connection to, I'm looking at like the south is basically the way that I would kind of word this. There's a heavy pull there. What's interesting is that they both actually have this affiliation with that place. Don't know if we're looking at like one of the Carolinas or Louisiana, but we're looking at some form of a connection in that area. So
I'm from North Carolina.
Okay, so that would be on, I think, father's side. Would that be correct to your knowledge?
Yes.
The woman was much more talkative than the man in that when she was coming through, she was very straight to the point, very assertive, in an adorable way, but very to the point with me. I am brought to there. Now, is there Mary on that side?
Jaime Pressly, my grandmother.
Yeah, she's very straightforward with me, and she's adorable.
A little too straightforward.
She's
yes.
adorable.
I wouldn't use adorable. I'm glad you are.
She's very, very to the point, and I love her.
He brought up things that and people that I and was dead on with names and places.
Now, there's some reference to, within the family, there's actually someone who would be involved in clothes, but it's like to a weird extent. Like I'm seeing a washboard, if you're familiar with what that is, where people like wash clothes. I don't know what that means, but she's throwing
Granddaddy
it out.
Pressly owned Pressly's Cleaners.
So that's where the
We
connection
were the
be.
#1 dry cleaning business in the little town we're from.
Wow, that's awesome. There's also a reference to earlier on him seeing a White House with columns.
That's Grandmama and Granddaddy Pressly's house.
Okay. During a reading, I get really random pieces of information that come through that I have to make fit. I'm trying to figure this out. I didn't just deliver what's meant to come through. I think when your grandmother comes through, there's aspects there where I think she got to see that you had the opportunity to move and live your life and have that experience and be able to kind of go through that. And I think part of her might have been a little envious.
She was, very much so.
And she blames that in some part for being what she feels might have created a little bit of friction, in that she doesn't feel like she was fair about it.
Hearing about Grandmother Pressly, I feel, a lot better. I think anybody who ever gets any kind of confirmation that everything's okay for whatever it is, it makes you feel much lighter.
This is gonna sound a little strange. I don't know if I want to bring this person through, but there's someone else that's popping in. We have a younger woman who's stepping forward who feels like she passed away too soon. And when she's coming through, she's making my lungs hurt quite a bit. And mentally, this feels strange. Physically, this feels strange. She's blaming an outside influence and saying that she was in a very manipulative situation where I actually feel like an outside person was detrimental in influencing a lot of her actions or inactions in certain areas. There is reference to a B initial. B. Put this. She would have been very, okay, she's giving me more, so I have to kind of, do you mind if I go with it?
Go for it.
I just saw Britney Spears, so that's usually a reference to Brittany.
Brittany Murphy.
Who would that be?
She's an actress that passed away
Okay.
not that long ago. She was very sick. Oh my God, yeah, she was very sick.
Okay.
Had some kind of flu or pneumonia.
Right.
And I had seen her very briefly.
Because she's very direct in coming through. She's basically apologizing because she feels like the relationship ended. She's not coming through necessarily for you as much as she's referencing to you. She has messages for other people. She's using you kind of as the way to do that.
Oh my God.
Sometimes that does happen where people will pop
The
in.
man that she married, he OD'd. When she started seeing him,
Sure.
he manipulated her and was more of a Svengali than
Right.
anything. And I think maybe because I was one of the few in the spotlight that
Right.
actually commented.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Once Jamie validated who Brittany was, Brittany's energy actually went away and allowed for Jamie's loved ones to come through much more clearly. Okay, I'm gonna try to connect with what was going on here. We obviously have your grandfather, but there's also another man that's coming through from a fatherly perspective. He actually brings me to the last 2 years of life where we actually see a little bit of a fluctuation in health. This is the type of man that did not love doctors.
No, he did not.
It's like, I don't feel like I'm gonna rush to the hospital because I feel like if I go to the hospital, I'm gonna get bad news and it's just not gonna go well.
He hated the doctor.
Hated the doctors. And it looks like he had specified that he didn't, if he was going to die, it's like, don't take me to the hospital. Like, I don't want to die in the hospital. So when he finally did go, it truly looks, based on what I can feel like this, everything just kind of shut down at once. I don't think he had a say in it. I don't think he had a choice in it. I don't doubt he was trying to hold on. And it's interesting because I think you brought a different dynamic that your family might not have. And it kind of looks like you're the main one who didn't have the closure.
His name's Rod. He was a father figure to me for about 18 years. He was sick.
Right.
And one night when I was working on my old show, I got a call. He got on the phone. He started crying, and so did I. And he said, I think it's time. And I went into my boss's office, and he said, you can go now if you really feel like you need to, but if you can wait 2 days, obviously that would be better. But if you need to go, go. I felt responsible and
Right.
ended up staying the 2 days, and he died the very next day. And to this day, I've always wondered or felt bad that I didn't just leave. We knew he was gonna go. I guess
Yeah.
I selfishly just wanted to be there with him.
Understandably.
So I just, I've always felt bad about not getting there in time.
But he definitely is making a connection, but more so that he's perfectly fine. So he's jumping up and down and referencing it too, and he's hilarious. He's really funny.
He is.
He really is. The last interaction that you both actually had, he feels there was closure. That's kind of the weird thing with this, is that you don't, but he does, in the way that comes across. It's like he feels like he said everything he needed to say.
We went fishing 2 months before I flew out to Colorado, and we said everything.
Awesome.
When he took me to the airport, he got out of the car.
All right.
Then he hugged me and said, I'll see you again. I'll see you again, kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It felt incredible to be able to give Jamie the closure that she was so badly needing. Rod had complete closure from his perspective and wanted it to be known that he wanted her to have the same closure as well. And his love for you will always be there. That'll never die. This reading really showed why I do what I do every single day. The messages of closure, the insight, and the release that comes from these sessions, and that felt amazing.